right. What's going on, people? A little bit of house cleaning. Please make sure that you subscribe to this channel. Please make sure that you like this video. Please make sure that you comment on this video. Talk to me nice. And please make sure that you share. If I didn't say that already, I may have said that. If I did, forgive me. But definitely make sure you share this video. I'm about positivity. I'm about facts. And I'm about telling the truth. And I want us to be honest about the truth. And what we know about the truth is something that it can feel good, but can also hurt. But the sooner you align with the truth, the better. Stop taking the blue pill and start taking the red pill. Yes, it will change the way you look at things forever. But is that necessarily a bad thing? Would you rather accept reality, or would you rather accept fantasy? See, fantasy will give you the false sense of security, but reality gives you an opportunity to adjust to what things are. And if you can find some semblance of comfort with reality, man, you can really, really thrive. So that's why we got to do that. And so I wanted to share with you a few things, okay? So let me preference this by saying this, okay? Some people that are close to me know that I grew up as a Christian. I do not consider myself a Christian anymore. Okay? Now, I'm not knocking anybody who's a Christian. I'm not knocking anybody that's Muslim. I'm not knocking anybody that believes in whatever they believe in. If you are an asset to society and not a liability to society, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. So I'm not here to bash anybody, because you know what? I love my Christians. I love my Muslims. I love my Buddhists. I love my Judaism people. I love all people, because here's the thing. The world would not be so colorful and beautiful if people were all the same. It's the differences that make us beautiful. We just have to accept that certain people see certain things one way and certain people see certain things another way. We can't get upset and mad because somebody doesn't see it our way. We just got to accept the fact, look, hey, they don't see it our way. Because imagine a world where everybody agreed on everything and everybody flowed the same way. It would be a bland, tasteless, boring world. All right? So, I wanted to share with you today. I wanted to tell you that because I want to share with you something, and I just want you to just open your mind to it, okay? All right? As I said before, I'm going to read you something. Okay? And when I read you this, I'm going to talk about it. Why? Because it's actual factuals that affect us in this world, no matter what we believe in or what we don't believe in. All right? What you also need to know is the origins of religions are based on nature. So I will do my very best to try to use natural examples, but I just want you to stay with me for what I am reading to you. All right? So, all right, let's talk about this. Just a second here. All right. So I told myself I will test you with pleasure, so enjoy yourself. But this was pointless. Senseless, said I concerning laughter and pleasure. How practical is this? I decided to indulge in wine while still remaining committed to wisdom. I also tried to indulge in foolishness just enough to determine whether it was good for human beings under the heavens, given the short time of their lives. With respect to my extravagant works, I built houses for myself, I planted vineyards for myself, I constructed gardens, orchards, and within them, I planted all kinds of fruit trees. I built for myself water reservoirs to irrigate forests that produce trees. I acquired male and female slaves, and I had other slaves born in my house. I also acquired for myself increasing numbers of herds and flocks, more than anyone who had lived before me. I also accumulated silver and gold and wealth of kings and their kingdoms. I gathered around me both male and female singers, along with what delights a man, all sorts of mistresses. So I became great, greater than anyone who had ever lived before me. Throughout all of this, I remained wise. Whenever I wanted something I had seen, I never refused that desire. Instead, I enjoyed everything I did, and this became the reward in what I had undertaken. Then I examined all of my accomplishments that I had brought about by my own efforts, including the work that I had labored so hard to complete, and it was all pointless, like chasing after the wind, and there was nothing to be gained on earth. Next, I turned to examine wisdom, insanity, and foolishness, because what can a person do who succeeds the king except what has already been accomplished? So I concluded that wisdom is more useful than foolishness, just as light is more useful than darkness. The wise use their eyes, but the fool walks in darkness. I also perceived that the same outcome affects them all. Then I told myself, whatever happens to the fool will also happen to me. Therefore, what's the point of being so wise? And I told myself that this is all pointless, for neither the wise nor the fool will be long remembered, since in days to come everything will be forgotten. The wise man dies the same way as the fool does he not? So I hated life, because whatever is done on earth caused me trouble. It's all pointless, like chasing after the wind. Then I despised everything I had worked for on earth. That is, the things that I will leave to a person who will succeed me. And who knows whether he will be wise or foolish. Either way, he will take possession of everything that I have done on earth, especially where I have excelled. This also is pointless. So I came to be in despair about everything that I had accomplished on earth. For sometimes people who strive to obtain wisdom, knowledge, and equity leave everything as an inheritance to the person who never worked for it. This too is pointless and greatly troublesome. For what does a person gain from everything that he accomplishes and from his inner life struggles that he undergoes while working on earth? Indeed, all of the days are filled with sorrow, and his struggle bring grief. In fact, his mind remains restless throughout the night. This is pointless too. The only worthwhile thing for a human being is to eat, drink, and enjoy life's goodness that he finds in what he accomplishes. This I observed is also from the hand of the Most High himself. For who can eat or enjoy life apart from him? After all, to the person who is good in the Most High's sight, he gives wisdom, knowledge, and joy. But to the sinner, he gives the troublesome task of acquiring and accumulating in order to leave it to someone who is good in the sight of the Most High. This also is pointless and chasing after the wind. Now, that is Ecclesiastes chapter 2, and that's the whole chapter. Ecclesiastes chapter 2, the whole chapter from 1 to chapter from 1 to 26. Now, some of those things, now, no matter what religion you are or religion you're not, those things are relatable. You think about it. You go through so much. You ever seen people go through life and they just become obsessed with their career? They become obsessed with acquiring things. Cars, houses, clothes, shoes, jewelry. They become obsessed with those things, right? And even even the pharaohs tried to take their wealth with them in death, only to years later to be discovered that they were skin and bone, yet their jewelry and everything, their jewelry and their precious metals and everything was right there. You can't take anything with you. You come into this earth and you buck naked and you leave, and that's the way you're going to leave. You might not leave buck naked, but them clothes ain't going to hold that skin, ain't going to hold those organs, ain't going to hold those veins, arteries, and capillaries. All of that stuff is just for the purpose of getting something done. The assignment. The assignment for your life. So today's topic is going to be the assignment of your life. Okay? Now, what is the assignment of your life? I don't know. I don't know what the assignment of your life is. That's for you to figure out. And you can't figure it out unless you go on that journey for yourself. If you depend on people to spoon feed you, it's not going to work for you. And it reminds me, and I want to read this to you as well. I want to read to you this scripture right here as well, and it's going to connect it all together for you. Because I think a lot of you are always looking for things that are outside of you for your answers. But the answers are always inside of you for your purpose. See, when you start looking for an answer that's not tied to your purpose, that's when it starts becoming troublesome for you, and you never find it. If you can't find something and you did a really good job of looking, it may be a sign that you're looking in the wrong place because you're in the wrong space. You are not on schedule and you are not on time. For instance, a football field has 100 yards. If the football is kicked off to me under today's standards, and not so much as take a knee or a fair catch in the back of the end zone, I'm going to start at the 25-yard line. So I'm giving, 25 yards is gifted to me just for taking a fair catch. Now, there are 4 downs to get a first down. And a first down starts out at 10 yards. 10 yards. 1 yard is 3 feet. So you're talking about 30 feet to get to another first down. So if I start at the 25, it's 1st and 10. I can either run the ball or I can either pass the ball. Now, what's the safest thing for me to do? The safest thing to do is to run the ball. Why? Because it minimizes the opportunity for me to fumble the ball or to make a mistake. All I have to use is fundamentals, and all I have to do is hold on to the ball. The second thing is the touchdown is 75 yards away. Do I have to get 75 yards? No, but the enticement is to get every 75 yards in one play. And that's our problem in our lives. We try to go after the big fish, but it's the little fish that feeds us every day and gives us our daily living. There'll be opportunities in your life where you will have and make a big play. There might be a play where I might throw it and get 10, 15 yards, 20 yards, 30 yards. I might get a chunk. I might make a 60-yard, 70-yard play. But if I predicate my offense for a whole game, which is life, if I predicate what I do in my life about making big plays, every time I get under center and I get to the center of my purpose in my life, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lose more often than I'm going to win, no matter how much skill I got on the edge. Think about this. Tim Duncan is a great example. A lot of people don't talk about him, but Tim Duncan is arguably the greatest power forward of all time. Tim Duncan didn't have any flashy moves. Tim Duncan was known for using the backboard more than anybody else when he shot the ball. A fundamental thing that we learned early when we played basketball. But what was so great about Tim Duncan? His consistency and persistency with the fundamentals. He used his fundamentals to get him to the level that he got to. He used his fundamentals to make millions and millions of dollars. He used his fundamentals to become one of the top 75 players of all time, and to become the greatest power forward of all time, and to become a 5-time champion. And listen to this: he had never, he had never, during his time where he was in the NBA, he always made the playoffs. He always, other than the lockout season, he'd always won 50 games. Michael Jordan didn't do that. Kobe Bryant didn't do that. LeBron James didn't do that. He won. He was all NBA. He won MVPs. He won All-Star appearances. He won all NBA appearances. Any kind of award that you can think of, he won. Finals MVPs. So many different types of things. Tim Duncan was not a flashy player. He didn't talk a lot. He might have said a couple of things on court, but at the end of the day, he went out there, he approached his job, and the best thing about Tim Duncan was his availability. That's the best ability that you have in your life, is availability. And we can talk about great players who always are getting hurt for one reason or another. But the reality is, if you can become consistent at being available, that is half the battle. Some of you don't know how to be mothers and fathers. Guess what? The number one thing that you need to be is available. Just being available, instinctual things are going to pick up with you. Listen, my dad wasn't there for me growing up. So when I had my children, I didn't know how to be a dad. But I knew I was supposed to be there. And I made sure I was there. For my oldest child up until she was 14 months old, I was there every day. And for my children now, with my wife, I am there. I am present. I am here. And then you got to do more than just be present. But being present is very important. All right? So when we start talking about all of the pointlessness of what you acquire and what you don't, whether you're a good person, whether you're a bad person, whether you're wise or whether you're foolish, like, it's all pointless. But some things that are pointless can still be useful. See, wisdom is great for what you need here, but it's only for what you need here. Where you're going after this, wisdom is not going to be a requirement. Wisdom is not going to have anything to do with anything. To navigate this crazy vortex that we have on this earth, is wisdom the most important thing? Absolutely yes. Why? Because wisdom, unlike experience, wisdom is taking you and your well-being into consideration while teaching. The difference between wisdom and experience is experience doesn't care about what happens to you once you are taught. But wisdom always cares about you. Wisdom always cares about you. Now, sometimes, this is what's so funny to me now. Sometimes people, when they get in the worst of worst situations, they get in trouble, they find themselves in a conundrum. You know what they'll do? They'll look for God. Now, you got to make up your mind. If God, as you call him, lives with you, if he lives in you, and he resides in you, then why are you looking outside of you if he resides in you? Did he take a break? Did he leave for the weekend? Did he clock out and check out of your temple? No. And a lot of times people feel like God is omnipresent, meaning he's everywhere. So why are you looking for someone, or why are you looking for something if it's right there? What actually happens is, you know, without anybody teaching you, what's right and what's wrong. For instance, a child knows what's right and wrong when that little 2-year-old goes to the cookie jar and tries to get those cookies and starts looking around like this. And you come around the corner and they take off running. You know why? They didn't need to know that they were right or wrong. right and wrong was already written into their essence. You know, you know somehow when you're little that you're not supposed to hurt your mom and your dad. You're not supposed to kill your mom and your dad. You know those things. But the battle is, are you going to abide in what's right in you, or are you not going to abide in what's right in you? So now we're looking at chakras, okay? So now, the highest part of yourself, okay? The highest part of yourself in terms of the chakras. Let's look at this real quick. So now naturally, you have chakras that start at your midsection and goes all the way up. 7 of them. Here are the names of them. There is the root chakra, the sacral chakra, the solar plexus, the heart chakra, the throat chakra, the third eye, and then the crown chakra. Okay? Now, here's the deal. The difference between one and another is that it is blockage. So the decisions and the choices. So if you are obedient and you abide and you are in tune with yourself, then all of your chakras are open, and then divine energy flows into you. And the divine energy, it has like special codings and message. And the divine energy is the truth. And see, a lot of people, we get into this my truth, your truth. That's bull. There is no such thing as my truth or your truth. There is just the truth. And everything else is lies. So my truth is a lie. I'm sorry. People telling you, I just want to get an opportunity to tell my truth. No. Telling your truth is telling your story. And you know what we used to say, because we couldn't say lies when we were growing up, but you know what we used to say when people would tell lies? You're telling stories. Do you know why they call it stories? Because stories are not real. It gives you an opportunity to use your imagination and embellish. But the truth does not work like that. The truth looks like it looked from every angle. The truth stands by itself. It's naked and it's unashamed. But you have, like I said, you have all of these different chakras. And so I want to focus on, for this particular moment, I want to focus on the highest chakra, which is the crown chakra. And the crown chakra is the 7th chakra, which is up here. Okay? It's located at the top of the head. It represents states of higher consciousness and divine connection. Imbalanced attributes would be cynicism, disregarding what is sacred, closed-mindedness, and disconnection with spirit. All right? Now, your higher self. So if God is inside of you, then God operates in the highest of you, your higher self, the most high. So this is what's leading you into all truth. And I'm going to explain that later on. This is what's leading you into all truth. Remember, I told you religion is based on nature. But the difference is who told it and what got manipulated. Respectfully, man has put his hands on things and tainted them. That's just what it is. Don't get mad at the messenger, but that's what it is. When you approach a decision, there is the right thing, and then there's a bunch of wrong things that can go. And when you, but you somehow know why, because it's called in your gut. Trust your gut. Now, when you eat bad things and you put bad bacteria in your gut, that is going to affect your gut, and that's also going to affect your decisions, and it's going to get you distorted. That's why it's important to eat right, because when you eat right, you open yourself up for the best clarity to be able to understand the divine energy that flows through you. When you don't eat right, you cause blockage in your body, and then you disrupt the divine energy that comes in, and then you don't know if you listening to the message of the divine or if you listening to the message of the opposite of the divine, which is the enemy, which is your inner me. You're in your own way. When you're looking at your chakras and you open yourself up, when you abide in the truth, when you abide in the truth, you're open to the obedience of the divine energy that's trying to just tell you the truth about what to do. When you when you make a decision, you make decisions either through a process of logic or emotion. When you make a decision based on emotion, you're making a decision based on how you feel. But the truth doesn't deal with feelings, because your spirit, your essence, doesn't deal with feelings either. You are a spiritual being having a humanistic experience, and not the other way around. You're not. The problem is when the spirit, the truth, is made to lead and not follow. Made to lead, not follow. But your flesh, it has choice. It has a choice whether to follow or whether to lead. Now, the flesh doesn't lead the spirit. It's just the flesh gets all wacky, and then the spirit punishes you. Well, not the spirit punishes you, but when you don't listen to the spirit, you will inflict yourself unnecessarily, and you will punish yourself unnecessarily. Now, if there's too much punishment going on and it's an environment that's not conducive to live in, the spirit will vacate the premises, and then that's when you die. So then there is a death date that you have, and then there is a rush date that you have. And the decisions that you make can rush your time here. That's why we talked about earlier, we didn't talk about in this episode, but whether you eat a well-balanced diet or whether you eat recklessly, yes, in both scenarios, you're going to die. But one can speed up your death and the other one can slow down your death. Doing the right things does not prevent the inevitable from happening, but it does maximize the time that you have here, and it also affects the quality of the time that you have here. There are people who are living, but just barely. There are people that are walking around sick, uncomfortable, pain, limping, can't breathe like other people, can't talk like other people, Alzheimer's. There's so many different types of things that people are living with because of decisions and choices that were made. And a lot of people say, bad things happen to people. You are where you are because of the decisions and the choices that you make. You have to take accountability for the fact that you are where you are because of the decisions and the choices that you make. You might be good in these areas of decisions. You might be bad in these areas of decisions. But nonetheless, you are the master of your destiny. God lives in you. The Most High lives in you. The Most High lives in all of us. All of us have the Most High that lives in us. The difference between one and another is the abiding. Are you abiding in the Most High? And the Most High wants to lead you into all truth. Knows everything. Knows every answer. Knows exactly what you're supposed to do and what you need to do and not do. But are you abiding in that? The flesh, some of us, we taper our flesh when others are looking. So we make better decisions when we see people watching us. But when no one is watching us, this is where we indulge or we listen to our flesh because we feel like we're living for other people in terms of them being our judge and juror. But it doesn't matter if you do right or wrong. Your assignment ain't got nothing to do with them. Your assignment only has something to do with them in terms of the impact that you are supposed to have in life, and everybody you're not supposed to impact. You were created to minister to certain people. Now, when we start looking at, so now is about life is about achieving balance. Okay, too much of anything is bad for you. Okay, there was a young man that died from drinking too much water, and you say, how's that possible? Yes, you can overdo anything. Life is about balance. Okay, you are supposed to have fun, but you're also supposed to do work. You have to find the balance for your life. And it's not up to anybody else to determine what that balance is. That's between you and your higher self. Because you got to do your assignment, and nobody's going to catch the grade for you. All right? Also, when it talked about, as I read that scripture to you, when it talked about all of the things that was accomplished, think about your life. You may have accomplished a lot of things. You may not have accomplished a lot of things. Now, typically, the people who haven't accomplished a lot of things, they have a sense of, I got to accomplish this because this is going to be fulfilling to me. But there are people who have fulfilled the things that you want to fulfill, and yet they find emptiness in their life. How do you think that there are people who are millionaires or billionaires and then they commit suicide? Those material things don't make them happy. In fact, I'll tell you this, some of the happiest and at peace people on this earth are average people. Why? Because they have obtained the meaning of life. What is the meaning of life? The meaning of life is to eat good, drink good, enjoy the fruits of your labor, and share experiences with your loved ones. That will lead you to have a meaningful life, because there are people who have the ability to have a lot of resources, money, time, all kinds of things that they have access to in abundance, right? Well, maybe not time, but all these things they have access to in abundance, and they're grumpy. They're grumpy. They're old. They're irritated. You have some elites, they are literally irritated with people. You have people that have it all. Nice houses, cars, things that you couldn't imagine and dream of. And they're miserable. Do you know why? Because they don't understand the true essence of life. So you need to understand, everybody's not designed to be rich. And it's okay if you're not rich. You know why? Because even if you were rich, how many houses could you live in? How many cars could you drive? How many clothes could you wear? How many clothes can you wear in a day? So if you were going to have 14 days, what's the purpose of having 21 articles of clothing? You're not going to get a chance to wear all 21 because you're going to be dead in 14 days. I'm not speaking that over you. I'm just saying in that example. But what I'm saying, let me retract that. I do not even want to project that. But what I am saying is, the amount of resources that they have, they don't even get a chance to go through it. And yet they become insatiable about more resources, because the resources that they have, it doesn't quench their satisfaction, and they think it's because they need a little bit more. That's why we have some of the problems that we have. That's why we have the influx, or the imbalance of all of the resources going to a few people, a handful of people, and a whole bunch of people with hardly any resources. I think I was reading somewhere that it was like 8 people in America, and the top 8 people in America in their terms of their income and wealth is more than half of the world combined. Now we started talking about the core essentials of life, which is to eat quality foods, drink, water, and to be able to enjoy clean air and a place to stay. And in America, we have over 500,000 people. I do believe, 500,000 people who are homeless. Why? It's plenty of resources, right? Let me dial that back because you already understand. But what I'm saying here is no matter what you go out there and accomplish, your career, this, that, and the other, whatever the case may be, you're not going to find fulfillment unless you're on your path, your purpose. You can make millions of dollars doing something that ain't got nothing to do with your purpose. And then you could also make enough to be able to have the things that you need doing your purpose. And you're going to have a much better life over here doing the things that you're supposed to do because you're tied into your purpose. Remember, the scripture right there was just telling you that all these things are just like chasing the wind. Have you ever chased after the wind? You saw the wind blow this way and you took off and you ran? Do you know how stupid you look when you're chasing the wind? And you can't find the wind because the wind is not something that you can see. So it's pointless to chase the wind. Just like it's pointless to have all of these different accolades and this, that, and the other. Now, I'm not saying throw your hands up, but what I'm saying is if all of those things are pointless, acquire them doing your purpose. If you do what you're supposed to do, there's going to be things that are going to be added to you. It's like chasing money versus getting in your purpose and then money coming to you. If you don't have money right now, there's a reason you don't have money right now. But if you get into your purpose or whatever the case may be, I can assure you that everything that you need will come to you. It may come in a conventional way. It may come in an unconventional way. But they will come to you, and they will come to you when they need to come to you. You just need to stay on course with what you're supposed to do. All right? Then it talks about how bad people are giving the extra weight and task of trying to figure stuff out. Trying to figure stuff out. All right? I'm going to tell you this. I'm not going to name any names. I knew someone who some lottery numbers came to them 3 different times in 1 week. 3 different times in 1 week. They were going through something where they could have used the money. And I know $80,000 might sound like a lot to some, may not sound like anything to others. But $80,000 for this person would have been impactful. And that came to them. And they had a choice. They could have acted on it or they just could have ignored it. And they ignored it. And imagine what that person felt like to look the numbers up when it drew and those numbers came out just like that. The divine answers are inside of you. There are things that you can do, and then there are things that you can't do. But for the things that you can't do, for the things that you cannot do, your crown chakra wants to give you the information or wants to put you in a position or wants to do anything in between to make sure that you get what you need. But if you are convoluted and you are discombobulated and you are disoriented, you're not going to know who is what. And and here's how you know when it's the divine energy that speaks to you. Because the outcome always turns out the way that it's supposed to turn out. So if you have listened to yourself, some of you have trust issues with yourself. So if you have listened to yourself in the past and you acted on the things that you listened to yourself about and it didn't turn out well, it wasn't the divine energy. But you were made societally to blame yourself, to blame your gut instinct. Man, I have people that say, man, I don't trust my gut instinct, man. And you know why? Because it was a convoluted message given to them. It was a convoluted message given to them, and they took that as if it was the gut. Do you recognize, even from a dietary standpoint, right? There's certain things that you can eat that presents bad bacteria in your gut, and then there's certain things that you can eat that presents good bacteria in your gut, and that it will affect you in so many different ways. The signal from the brain and the correlation between the gut is very key on every decision. So usually your sicknesses and diseases comes from and stems from your gut. You know, they say, hey, look, take probiotics. it replaces the bad bacteria with the good bacteria. That's a start. I mean, it's certainly a start, but it's your way of living will determine these things. And listen, the society that we live in, it doesn't make it any easier on us. GMOs and things like that, or whatever the case may be. Listen, we know that there's certain things that you don't have access to, but see, that crown chakra, and even the chakra before that, your third eye, it wants to help you so bad. It wants to help you so bad. Let's look at that Let's look at that third eye. Okay, when we look at the third eye, it's the third eye. It's located in the center of the forehead, right here, right? Center of the forehead, depending on how big your forehead is. But it says the third eye, which is the sixth chakra, is located at the center of the forehead and between the eyebrows. So I was right. It represents intuition, foresight, and is driven by openness and imagination. Notice how when little children have the greatest imaginations, and when you get older, everything is based on circumstances. You ask a kid what he wants to be, what he or she wants to be, and they will go on and on about their expansive imagination. And it's just like life will beat them up so bad when they get older. You ask them what they want, and they'll say, man, I just want to pay my bills. I just want to pay my bills on time. Just a shrunk imagination. And it says the imbalance of the sixth chakra is attributes would be lack of direction or lack of clarity. And so we talk about the calcification of the pineal gland. Okay? And we start saying there's things that because you all blocked up and because you hard up right here, you don't get an opportunity to see. This is why I go back to the best place for, you know what? This is not going to feel well to you, but the truth doesn't care about your feelings. So I'm going to just tell you like this. Women can be so spiritual. But the trick is for women to think that they need to be out there in the world just like men are, when they're not designed to do what men do. When a woman is in a free state where she can flow and move, doesn't matter if it makes other people upset. And a lot of women, they get upset because they have to do what they have to do. A lot of women work because they have to work. And a lot of women don't like women that don't work. They have names and things for them. But the reality is a woman's best served to be in a position of being able to be fluid and moving. Why? Because she can get clarity and direction. See, even when a man and a woman, the sight line is different for a man and a woman. Women are typically detail-oriented. Men are big picture-oriented, typically. So men and women don't see things the same. But it's not what is similar about us that brings us together. It's the differences that brings us together. That's why when a woman is operating in her full femininity and a man is operating in his full masculinity, it's harmonious. Because they both need each other. They both feed off of each other. It's a duality between masculine and feminine energy. A man won't feel peace if he's around a lot of masculine energy. He'll be on defense. But if he's around a lot of feminine energy, he will be so happy, he will be so calm, and guess what? He'll be so peaceful. So we start talking about men being providers and protectors, but women are protectors too and providers. They just do it differently. Just like men build a certain way and women build differently. Men build brick by brick. Women, they turn a house into a home. Let's put some drapes up. Let's use this color. Let's get this furniture. Let's do this. Men come in with the groceries and women make a meal. But we're taught to hate that. But the duality of us working together like that, it's the most harmonious situation. So beneficially, for all involved, a woman needs to be free. But you can't be free if you have a whole lot of clutter. Now, men, when we go out there into the world, we have to, I got big shoulders and everything like that. I have to go out there with my armor on. I can't show any weaknesses. I have to be strong. Listen, because of this color right there, that's already weaponized, So I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to do the third. And even if it's not this, men in general have to go out there and deal with things and have to be hard and have to be calculated and cold sometimes. They can't let their feelings get in their way because it could cost them. It could cost their family. It could cost their lives. So when a man comes home, it's the one place that a man needs to be naked and unashamed, where he can take off his armor and he can open up. Now, a man needs to make sure that his wife and his children are in check. And when I mean in check, I mean they have what they need. But a man needs to be able to let his hair down. I know I don't got no hair. But a man needs to let his hair down and be able to unwind. And a woman, she has the propensity to be able to provide an environment that's conducive for a man to recharge so he can go out there the next day and do what he got to do, even at the most effective level. Okay? So now I want you to notice something. This is what I want to talk to you, okay? So whatever you believe in or whatever the case may be, I don't look, the difference between me, see, I do believe in God, but I believe God lives in me. And I'm going to tell you why. And even for Christians and Muslims, in the literature, it tells you about the inside, because both religions are very similar in a lot of ways. Both of them have Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. Okay, they got the prophets and everything like that. The difference is in some of the other texts, but also the difference is mainly the messenger. And it's just like, but the abiding is inside of you. Watch this. As I read here, it says, "My little children," I'm reading from 1 John chapter 2, verse 1, and I'm going to read all the way through to 29. Watch this. "My little children, I'm writing these things to you so that you might not sin. Yet if anyone does sin, we have an advocate in the Most High, who is righteous." Okay? "It is he who is the atoning sacrifice for our sins, and not for ours only, but also for the whole world." Now listen, man's got their hands on this, but when you read this, I just want you to read with the understanding that the Most High is you, inside of you, leading and guiding you. All right? This is how we can be sure we have come to know him. Okay, when I say him, I'm talking about the abiding, the truth. So when you hear he, him, God, whatever the case may be, I just want you to use the higher self, all right? And it's gonna verify that, okay? This is how we can be sure that we have come to know him, if we continually keep his commandments, okay? The person who says, "I come to know him," but does not continually keep his commandments is a liar, and the truth has no place in that person. But whoever continually keeps his commandments is the kind of person whom the Most High love has truly been perfected. This is how we can be sure that we are in union with the Most High, our higher self. The one who says that he abides in him must live in the same way he himself lived. All right? Now, dear friends, I'm not writing to you a new commandment, but an old commandment that you have heard, that you have had from the beginning. The old commandment is the word you have heard. On the other hand, I am writing to you a new commandment that is truly in him and in you. For the darkness is fading away and the true light is already shining. The person who says that he is in the light but hates his brother is still in darkness. The person who loves his brother abides in the light, and there is no reason for him to stumble. But the person who hates his brother is in the darkness and lives in darkness. He does not know where he is going, because the darkness has blinded his eyes. I am writing to you, little children, because your sins have been forgiven and account on his name. Okay. I am writing to you, fathers, because you have known that one who has existed from the beginning. I am writing to you, young people, because you have overcome the evil one. I have written to you, little children, because you have known the Father. I have written to you, fathers, because you have known the one who has existed from the beginning. I have written to you, young people, because you are strong and because the Most High's word remains in you and you have overcome the evil one. Stop loving the world and the things that are in the world. If anyone persists in loving the world, the Most High's love is not in him. Okay? For everything that is in the world, the desires for the fleshly gratification, the desire for possessions and worldly arrogance is not from the Most High, but is from the world. Just like diamonds aren't worth anything, but they tell you it's worth something. And you clamor after it, right? And the world and its desires are fading away, but the person who does the Most High's will remains forever. Again, this will is the abiding, the righteousness that's inside of you, that's written on the linings of your heart. Little children, it is the last hours. Just as you heard that the Antichrist is coming, so now many Antichrists have appeared. This how we know it is the last hour. They left us, but they were not a part of us. For if they had been a part of us, they would have stayed with us. Their leaving made it clear that none of them really was a part of us. You have an anointing from the Most High and know all things. I have not written to you because you do not know the truth, but because you do know it, and because lies don't come from truth. Okay? Who is a liar but the person who denies the Most High? The person who denies the person who denies the Most High is the Antichrist. All right? Now, no one who denies the Most High, the person who acknowledges the Most High, the person who acknowledges the Most High is the Most High. So it says that the Son also has the Father, but I'm trying to get you to see it here, because a lot of people see the Most High as a separate entity, a conduit. And that was made because they want you to project, they want to project that what's in you ain't in you. They want to project that what's truly in you, that you were born with for your assignment and your vision, is not in you. That is something that you have to go out and search for. And then they turn around and tell you that the Most High is omnipresent, omnipotent. So you got to be able to have a spirit of discernment with this. But I'm trying to just discern this for you because the answers lie within you. All right. Now, what you have heard from the beginning must abide in you. And if you have heard from the beginning abides in you, you will also abide in the Son and in the Father, which is the righteousness inside of you. Okay. Now, I've written to you about these who are trying to deceive you. Listen to this. The anointing you receive from the Most High abides in you, and you don't need anyone to teach you this. Oops, pastors, stuff like that. Okay. Instead, because the Most High anointing teaches you about everything and is true and not a lie, abide in him as he taught you to do. Listen to this. Even now, little children, abide in him. Then when he appears, we will have confidence and will not turn away from in shame when he comes. Since you know that he is righteous, you also know that everyone who practices righteousness has been fathered by God, or the truth. So I want you to pay attention to the last few words here. In verse 27, it says the anointing you receive from the Most High abides in you. See, the truth is there and is there for you, right? It's already in you. It's already in you. It's about you getting in tune with yourself. It's about you opening up your chakras so that divine energy can flow through you. And that divine energy is all truth. It knows, it says, it teaches you about everything and is true and not a lie. Divine energy has no ability to lie. And everything it tells you, if you do it, it will turn out good for you. Now watch this. It says, even now, little children, abide in the truth. Then when he appears, we will have confidence. Okay, so what is he appears? Translation, when you abide in the truth, then the manifestation of doing the action of what the truth told you to do, the manifestation is the harvest of it. So here's the thing. Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. That's fact. But faith is, but once you have the manifestation of faith, see, faith is like running on gas, right? You can't see it. You just know it. You just believe it. You feel it. You trust your gut. Then you do what you're supposed to do, and then you receive the harvest of what you did. Okay? Because that's how you manifest things into existence. It's a thought, and then an action that brings forth the fruit. Once the fruit is brought forth, then it's no longer faith anymore. You have tangible proof that that acting on the truth yields the result that it told you it would yield to you. This is what wisdom wants for you. Wisdom is saying, if you just listen to me, you won't get hurt, and you will get what I'm telling you you're going to get. It's up to you to clean out, do the shadow work of yourself, and once you do that, to trust what's in here. Nobody can tell you about your assignment. Not even your mom or your dad can tell you about your assignment because they don't understand the intricacies of your assignment. That's why you have to work it out between you and the truth that's in you. See, we are born and shaped in this sin and iniquity, and it's bad. That's talking about the flesh. The flesh wants to do what it feels like. But the truth that abides in you doesn't care about your feelings. Do you know why? Because you're not human. You are having a humanistic experience. But your flesh will one day expire. But your spirit doesn't die. Do you know why? Because energy was never created. And energy cannot be destroyed. And what is operating inside of you is the energy. And if the energy is operating inside of you, when the energy is finished and dealt with you, the energy will move on. But the energy, your temple, it has the capacity to hold the energy. But if you don't treat the temple well enough, the conditions won't be conducive for the energy, and that's what shortens your lifespan. So you do have to have a balance of doing what you're supposed to do, but you cannot be led by the flesh, because everything the flesh wants to do, it goes against what the spirit wants to do, because the spirit does not care about feelings. Because before the spirit was in the flesh, the feeling that the spirit couldn't feel. It just was. It was beautiful. It was perfect. So the struggle isn't between necessarily the spirit and the flesh. The struggle is the abiding. The abiding. That's the struggle. You know what's right. You know what's wrong. Whether it's people watching you or people not watching you. You know what's right and you know what's wrong. And if you choose to consistently do what you know is right, even if you don't feel like it, and you don't have any blockage inside of you. See, some of you, sometimes you convolute it and you get a feeling about something. It's the wrong feeling, but you get the feeling about something because you ain't did the cleaning. You get the feeling about something, and then you call yourself listening to the feeling. And it might be hard to make that decision that feeling is telling you to do, but it's just the lesser of two evils. You still get punished. But if you're tired of punishment, then you have to do some shadow work, and then you have to do some, and you have to open yourself up. What does that do? That actually activates the chakras to open up to free yourself from the blockage. And once it frees you from the blockage, it will allow the divine energy to come in. How do you think, before all of this science and all of this, how do you think, not even before that, how do you think the pyramids were built? Do you think that was something that was explained by one man to another? No, there had to be something divine, because man can't seem to, with all of the development and technology, they can't seem to understand how they're built. Now, do you want to be led by something with minimal understanding, or do you want to be led by the most supreme understanding? And you're already at a loss when you think that the Most High is outside of you. We are all pieces of the divine energy, made to do a specific assignment. And the divine energy uses man to get the things done that is of the spirit realm into the earth realm. So you have to make sure that your flesh is obedient to what the abiding is inside of you. Because the abiding inside of you doesn't want to hurt you. But when you don't listen to it, you opt for experience. And experience will kill you. We even have sayings that, I need to go out there and I need to experience this. I need to go out there and experience that. Really and truthfully, you should want to stay away from experience. That ain't the best way to learn. The best way to learn is through wisdom. And even in Ecclesiastes, when it talks about wisdom being pointless, it's more useful on this earth than foolishness. See, foolishness, they never said foolishness had any use. But it said wisdom has usefulness. Isn't that amazing how wonderful and powerful wisdom is? And in this realm, it's only for this realm. And the next realm, it ain't even got any usage. That just tells you how insignificant life is. Yet, how important and significant your purpose is. Let nothing get in the way of your purpose. No man, no woman, no child. Let no one get in the way of your purpose. It's critical. Because when we die, they might cry for a little while. They're going to get over you. And life's going to go on. I heard this saying one time that talked about let your works extend beyond the graves. Extend beyond the grave, or something to that effect. Your essence won't be felt until it's missing. That's why people take things and take people for granted. Then that's why your brothers and sisters don't call on you. That's why they don't check on you. That's why you don't call your mom. That's why you don't call your dad. That's why you don't do any of those things, because you don't want to do those things. And then when they die, you're the main one crying at the funeral, with all filled with regrets of how you shoulda, woulda, coulda. I should have been there more. I should have helped more. I should have talked to them more. I should have said this. I should have did this. I should have did that. That's because you chose a life of being led by the flesh. See, the flesh says, I'm just bad at calling people. I'm just not going to call them. The spirit says, I know I need to call them. I'm going to schedule a time to call them because they are important. It's a different beast when you standing at somebody's funeral and you did all that you could. There ain't too many people that can say that. But it's a whole lot of people that are filled with, I didn't do all that I could do with the time that I was given. When you do, listen, let me explain this verse right here when it says, even now little children abide in him, that when he appears, we will have confidence and will turn away from him in shame. And we will not turn away from him in shame. Here's what it's really, really saying. Let me extract some things from it, okay? When you live a life where you do, when you live a life where you open yourself up to receive divine energy and you abide by the instructions that are given to you with consistency, you will have a consistent manifestation of exactly what that divine energy told you. And it will be more than beautiful And the naysayers that come around won't be able to make you feel any shame because there's the proof. Let me give you an example. When I first started my business, everybody that I loved had something to say about, with negativity about my business. Even the ones that were close to me and loved me, they said, don't do that. What about you need a steady income? Don't you want benefits? Don't you want 401k? Just go out there and get a regular job. You don't want to make that mistake. But see, I had a choice to abide by what was in my heart, or listen to what other people said. And the thing about listening to other people, number one, how can somebody give you accurate information when they don't have all the information? So that should tell you right there, stop listening to people. The second thing is, do that person that's telling you something, do they operate in the abiding in them, or do they operate in their flesh? See, you can learn from winners and losers, right? But what are they teaching? Why would you listen to somebody about your relationship? Why would you listen to somebody about the problems that you have in your marriage when they have a track record of being unsuccessful in relationships? Now, they're qualified to tell you the stuff that they did that didn't work. But that's all they're qualified in telling you. At best, you should listen to somebody that has a model of what you're looking for. But even them, you should just listen to the abiding. Would you rather good, or would you rather excellent? The abiding, the divine energy is excellent and perfect. But a man with a doctorate degree is good. Now, you choosing good, or you want to choose excellent? Do you want an elbow doctor working on your heart, or do you want a heart doctor working on your heart? Now, the divine energy is the doctor of all doctors. And yet you're opting to not listen to listening to someone else. So, any rate, you go through and you do it. And so what I did was I believed that it was just in my heart, and I wasn't going to feel any sense of satisfaction unless I tried in what was burning in my heart to do. Speed up, business successful, sold millions and millions and millions, right? And guess what? Not everybody, some people were saying, I always knew it was going to work out. Or whenever I kind of hit a stumbling block anywhere along the way, you know what those people were trying to make me feel like? They were trying to make me feel bad for my decision. They were trying to make me feel shameful. But I already saw some fruit. I already saw some promising things materialize. Things that were promising that manifested itself. And that gave me the confidence. When you go to work out, okay, and you've never worked out before, you don't have any personal experience with the results coming in. But you lean on the fact that you're not the first to do it, and you won't be the last to do it. You lean on the fact that other people have gotten results. And most things that you do in your life, somebody has already blazed the trail. So it should be easy for you. But there are certain things that you're going to do that nobody's ever done. But even when nobody's ever done it, if it's in your heart to do it, you got to obey it. You're called to abide. You have the choice, but you're called to abide. And there will be consequences if you don't abide. So you got to be as in tune with yourself as you can, and you got to work out your own salvation. Then when you exercise, and this is what happened when you exercise. You go through the first week, you don't see nothing. Second week, third, fourth, fifth, sixth week. Here goes 6 weeks, and you did everything that you were supposed to do, and you're getting these miraculous gains, and you're seeing miraculous results. It's no longer faith anymore. Now you have tangible evidence that what you do works. And then you will find that it will be easier to do. All right? So I'm going to close out right there. And what my final thoughts are is trust. Okay. My final thoughts is take a step back. Get to know what's right and what's wrong about you. In that process, you're going to learn about yourself. Get to the origins of the problem and stop dealing with the leaves and the branches of your problems, because that's not going to get to the root of the problem. So you got to go back to the root. You're going to see, and it's going to be some things that are revealed to you that is going to be upsetting. But you got to have that real with yourself. And once you do that, and you do the work, the shadow work, and you do the cleaning, and listen, the house is junky, but you got to do your spring cleaning. You got to spring forward and you got to clean. Once you spring forward and you clean, all right, the next step is to open up. Well, no, not the next step. You're going to have to open up while you're cleaning, because some of it stinks. And got to get that, and just like you got to get that nasty smell out of your temple. So you're going to have to do a combination at the same time. Open yourself and dig. Get all of the funk out and clean up everything that needs to be cleaned up. Once you do that, you will have clarity, and you'll be able to know where things go. I can't tell you where those things are going to be, but you're going to know, because you're going to get so in tune with yourself. You're going to start hearing and seeing things. Obey. Once you obey, just hold on, because the divine truth is going to give something to you. It's going to say something to you. And if you do and follow the instructions of the divine energy that's giving this to you, trust it. Trust that you cleaned the house. Trust that you cleaned out your temple. Trust that you did the shadow work. Trust that you got to the roots. And if you miss some spot, I'm confident the divine energy is going to do that. Is going to highlight that. You missed that spot. Once that's done, and you do whatever it tells you to do, do it. When it tells you to do it, the results are going to come in. If it says to you, go plant apple trees, then go do it. The manifestation of that is going to be apple trees. You have to hold on long enough for what you don't see to get to the point where you do see. And when you do see, that's your victory. And when you have the victory, then the next challenge, the next thing that you're told, it becomes easier to trust and easier to listen to, because the abiding came through. See, the abiding needs you to manifest. But it doesn't really need you, but it wants you so that it can manifest for you all things true. And all things true is good for you and good for me too. All right? So listen, guys, I got to cut now, and I really enjoyed my time. I'm actually excited and looking forward to the things that are going to come, the conversations that we're going to have, the breakthroughs that you're going to have. Like I said before in the beginning, I'm not for everyone. I don't want to be for everyone. So if you listen to part of me, or you got into a certain point and it's just not a vibe for you, and it's not what you're into, or whatever the case may be, listen, that is perfectly fine. Okay? I don't have to be rude, disrespectful to you. I'm asking you not to be rude or disrespectful to me. Everybody deserves love and respect on a basic level of purity. So, you know, just find another channel that works for you, and I wish you the best, okay? Because I'm not taking it personal. I'm not designed to minister to everybody. I'm not designed to connect to everybody. I'm here to connect to whom I'm supposed to connect to. And so sometimes we just got to go past some people and some places and some things that we ain't designed to settle, and we just it's on our way to where we are going to settle. So some of you may be here for a season. Some of you may be here for a reason. Some of you may be here for a lifetime. And some of you, hopefully you're not, may be in my life or maybe coming through for treason. Just keep your treasonistic ways to yourself. Go on about your business. But if you would be so kind for everybody else, make sure you like this video. Make sure that you leave a comment to this video, or if it's something that you want to say. And also make sure that you share this video, and also make sure that you subscribe to this channel. And also below you're going to see my email address, thoughtofleandre@gmail.com. The spelling is down at the bottom. If you want to contact me and you had a comment or a question, I'd love to be able to hear from you. Just talk to me nice. Okay? I'll always talk to you nice. Talk to me nice. And also, if you want to book me or whatever the case may be, we can have that discussion as well. I'd love to have the opportunity, okay? So again, guys, I love you guys. I care about you. I want the best for you. I want the best for me. I want the best for all of us. But just remember, the power and everything that you need is right under your nose. It's right inside of you. Take care.